back to the show, guys. You've joined us just in time for Reflect and Connect. Now, we know that over the past several years, we've seen more and more cases of police brutality, especially against Black and brown people. Now, we know that kids are affected. Remember back in the days where we could just shut the TV off and they wouldn't be exposed to it. But now with social media and everything being so open, the conversation is really important. So to hear today, to join us with that conversation, is our contributor mental health specialist, Miss Cherlette McCullough.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. That was a mouthful. Lipstick. Lipstick. Blame it on the lipstick, guys. Blame it on the lipstick. So we want to, the conversation needs to be had. I think families now are facing it. You see it on TikTok, right? You see the news, especially what happened with Tyree Nichols.
Right.
How can parents start that conversation with young children, and what can they do to help them?
Well, you know, Candace, it's really important that we do have these conversations and normalize talking about these things that happen in our community. Because like you said, our children are exposed to so much at their fingertips.
Right.
So starting that conversation depends on the age of the child. And you want that conversation to be very age appropriate, you know? Another thing is parents sometimes are feel like this topic is taboo, but leaning in and making this normal in your house to talk about, especially for our children, our Black and brown children. We need to normalize these types of conversations with them around what is the right behavior for a police officer? What is police brutality? You know, what is that? Why is it important? And really talking to them about social injustices, really making that conversation common in the house.
So you just said something that was interesting, Cherlette. You said about making it age appropriate.
Yes.
I don't know if this could be a trivial question, but at what age, when it comes to like death, what age do kids really grasp what death? You know what I mean? What age do they really know what's going on?
That's a really good question, Chris. It depends on the child because you've seen some children who are gifted. You've seen some children at a very young age they have an understanding, but I think that's on a child-by-child basis. Depending on what your child can handle the conversation, you know what's appropriate for your child and things like that. But normalizing it, talking about it, and finding out from your children, what do they know? Asking them what do they know, because sometimes when we, as parents, if we don't initiate the conversation, the child gets the message that we can't talk about that. So asking them and finding out what they know, you know, what they've been exposed to and what their understanding of it is, and then going from there.
So, you know, kids go to school. Let's say, for instance, middle school, right? Because you have TikTok. A lot of kids are on TikTok, social media. Do you feel that the conversation should be had before something happens? It's just like you said, find out what they know. But do you start the conversation, or you wait for a catastrophe to happen and then talk about it? And how do you talk about it, though? How do you even start?
I think the parents should initiate that conversation just normal while you're sitting around watching TV, while you're having dinner, while you're riding to the next appointment or going to different things, but bringing that topic up organically. Like, have you heard about what's going on? What do you think about that? What are your friends thinking about that? Organically, not having it where it feels like they're in church or in school, like it's an academic thing, but normalizing that conversation where they feel comfortable really talking about how they feel. Because we do want to know how they're feeling in this moment with these things going on, because these types of things that they're exposed to can lead to depression in children, and it can lead to anxiety in children. And depression and anxiety looks like behavioral problems, but the root of it is depression or anxiety. And these types of things can really exacerbate those feelings in children.
So, Cherlette, so say we're dealing with an older kid, adolescent age, middle school, but like with the Tyree Nichols video, what if they ask to see it, but they're older kids? Do you show it to them? I mean, they see crazy stuff on Netflix. Is this something that parents should?
I think it still goes on a case-by-case basis for your household, but I think as far as their mental wellness, I don't think it would be healthy to expose them to that. To expose them to it. But I do think what is healthy, Chris, is talking about it and talking through it. Because, of course, we know they're exposed to it. Their friends are talking about it. And they may some way get to it. You know, but the main thing that I want to get across is let's talk about it. Let's normalize talking about these things and not like it's hush, hush, and you shouldn't talk about it and it didn't happen. Because these things are happening.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. So at what point should a parent say, okay, there's behavioral problems, but there's something else, what is the indicator that says, okay, I need to get help for my child. I need a professional now because they're internalizing everything.
So sometimes what it looks like behavioral problems. It looks like they're being really unruly or not listening or not having the ability to connect with you or not being able to do their assignments or not enjoying the things that they normally enjoy. Sometimes wetting the bed. You know, it's extreme, but sometimes that can be an indicator as well.
Wow.
So things like that, those are some symptoms that it may be something deeper.
I know for me, as a mom of a black son, it was hard having that conversation, even with an adult, even with a teenager. Do you think that they should go to some type of therapy together? Because even though child is suffering, moms are suffering too, with even having to tell your kid you can't wear a hoodie and you can't walk down the street and you can't run.
Yes, absolutely. I think therapy definitely is a place to get help and start the conversation and normalize it. If a family do see that it is getting really weird in their house or it's hard to talk about that, I would recommend that they do start therapy or try therapy just to get through that process. It may not be a long drawn out thing, like they need several sessions, but to start that conversation, because it's hard, like you said, Candace. It's hard sometimes for parents to start that conversation.
Yeah.
Where do you start with that?
Yeah.
You know, and if you are having challenges with that, I would recommend starting with therapy just to normalize that conversation. Saying the things like police brutality, saying the things like racism, talking about race with your children, and not giving them the impression that it doesn't matter, we're all the same, and that's not true.
That's good, because a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
We're not.
Kumbaya.
Kumbaya.
Yeah.
And I know we have to get out of here, but real quick, Cherlette,
Yes.
what does a parent say to a kid that is now terrified of law enforcement? After all these conversations, now they're terrified. What is the advice to?
And that's realistic, Chris. We have a lot of that going on now. Talking to your children about what is the appropriate behavior for the police. Also exposing your kid, taking them to the police department and talking to the police, you know, doing some exposure therapy with your child. But the main thing is talking them through that and exposing them to what a relationship with the police should be.
Okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
Almost like getting a mentor. Find
Yeah.
an officer that's a mentor.
Absolutely.
Well, that was a great
was.
conversation.
I learned a lot.
I did too. Thank you for being with us, guys. Our
Thank
show
you.
it goes so fast.
Yeah.
I know you love us and we love you.
Yeah.
But we'll be back tomorrow.
We'll see you guys same time, same place. Be safe, good people.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Cherlette, thank you for coming again.
Of course.
That was good.
Right?
Was gone for the holidays, so I didn't have his little help around the house, so he came back last night.
I'm sure he was excited to get back home.
He was.
Yeah.
And so was the dog.
Oh, Tyson was gone.
Tyson has a whole jail cell. So my husband found this new cage.
Okay.
And it literally looks like a jail cell. I have to take a picture and
You
bring
need
it
to
tomorrow.
take a picture.
It's so sad.